Thanks for joining us today. I am Ramona. I'm the sales executive for Coral Expeditions. So I've been with the company for a couple of years now, and shortly I will have joining me one of our expedition leaders. So she's going to actually take you on a bit of a story on one of our fantastic Outerknown adventures of the Great Barrier Reef. So what you will find is with Coral Expeditions here, we do pride ourselves on having that warm Australian hospitality, that expert guidance, as you'll see from the lovely Marysia that's going to be joining us shortly. So our main purpose is to take small groups of like-minded explorers to all of those remote places around the world. By being Australian flagged, bonus of that as well is that we actually spend more time just exploring these amazing regions without having to head out into any international waters as well. So being Australian crewed as well, we've got that really nice relaxed feeling on board. So I'm actually a Cairns local. So Cairns is a place that I do call home. And just on my doorstep, I'm lucky enough to have the Great Barrier Reef. So one of our itineraries, the Outerknown Adventures of the Great Barrier Reef, is one of our 7-night expeditions. So that particular expedition is actually going to be commencing this year. So that's going to have its first expedition leaving in October this year, 2020. And the 7-night journey will have a beautiful combination of cultural interaction as well as that marine wildlife and conservation efforts behind it. So sit back, just enjoy yourself as we go for a bit of a journey through the Great Barrier Reef today. And lucky enough, I have Marysia here to join us. So over to you, Marysia.
Thanks, Ramona. Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Marysia, and I'm an expedition leader and a master reef guide for Coral Expeditions. So I've been with the company now since 2018. When I first started, I moved all the way up from Townsville, where I was doing my studies. I finished Bachelor of Marine Science, majoring in marine biology down there, and then I decided to come on up to Cairns and to try and find a job on the Great Barrier Reef. Having grown up in South Australia, we have much colder water, and we definitely don't have as many coral reefs, or corals and tropical reef fish as you do up here in Cairns. So that's why I decided to come on up and see what the Great Barrier Reef had for me, and I've been working there ever since. So I'm going to be here to take you through what to expect if you come onto a journey with us for 7 days through the Great Barrier Reef. So first up is the wonderful Cooktown. So Cooktown is well known for the arrival of James Cook when he beached his ship, the HMB Endeavour. But what most people don't know is that it actually has a very rich Indigenous history. So when we're in Cooktown, we will be greeted by a traditional owner. And Cooktown actually lies on the Gugu Yamatha people country. So this country is actually made up of 32 clans, and we'll be lucky enough to have somebody representing one of these clans, and they will take you through the history of the area. Here on the screen, you can actually see one of the members showing some rock art painting, which was done with the ochre. And here you can actually see the ochre being made. So for those of you who are unaware, ochre is, it looks a little bit like a rock, but it's actually fine clay particles. So it turns into paint very easily just by rubbing it and adding some liquid to it. So that's what we can see them doing there as well. On the tour, you'll hear lots of interesting information. So they will talk all about the Aboriginal Dreamtime stories, which talk about how the land was made and everything on it as well, all the way through to the Indigenous Australians' story of James Cook's arrival. So you could really get to hear both stories when you come and visit. And of course, here on the right, we have a statue of James Cook. And this is actually just meters away from where he had beached his ship for repairs. Because when he was coming up on the coast, he struck a part of the Great Barrier Reef and he had to immediately beach his ship for repairs. In Cooktown, we'll also get to go for a little walk through the town. There's many hotels to go for a wander through, and there's lots of well, the original architecture is actually still up. So it is very beautiful. A lot of the architecture dates back to the gold rush, which was back in the 1870s. Obviously, when they found gold in the Palmer River, this means that a lot of people started coming to Cooktown. They had to build to accommodate for them. And a lot of people don't know that Cooktown was actually one of the most thriving populations in northern Queensland back in the day. Far different now though, nice little quiet town. After Cooktown, we go back on board the ship and we start making our way up north to Lizard Island. So it's a little bit hard to see here in this picture for the untrained eye, but right in the middle, you can see a giant clam. So one beautiful feature of this island is the giant clam garden. So these clams are Tridacna gigas, which is Greek for 3 large bites and you're gone, because these clams are just that big. And that's one of the most amazing things about it. Whenever we take people to this giant clam garden, they've never seen a clam just this large. And I think I remember you, Ramona, being amazed by the clams that you saw there.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the colours that you'll see in the clams. Like, is it the zooxanthellae, Marysia, that gives them that colour as well, or same as?
So the zooxanthellae is that little tiny organism. It's a plant, an algae that lives inside of the coral, and it's the same algae that gives coral its colour too. So they live in a symbiotic relationship with the clam. But this is just you can see a large picture here of Lizard Island. And over to the right, you can see this beautiful idyllic beach that I guess when you want to come to any islands in the Great Barrier Reef, that's the kind of beach that you think about. And just going back to this picture, this beautiful reef fish and clams and the coral and this ecosystem that you can see is literally just footsteps off of the beach. So if you can just go off onto the beach, go into that blue, put your face down into the water, and that is what you will see. And of course, for those of you who don't particularly like getting wet or wanting to go into the water, we do have our wonderful glass bottom boat that will go all the way around to the different spots with Lizard Island, and you can see everything just from the surface of the water. So one of my favorite things about Lizard Island is that there is just so much to do here. So usually we'll get there in the afternoon. We get to go for a lovely swim. Here you can see a turtle. The turtles just love to hang around in the shallows. And this is just so that you can get used to the water and just get used to your gear as well. And then after you're finished for your afternoon swim, you can come out and we will be waiting for you on the beach with some refreshments and also some nibblies. So it's a really nice way to welcome you to the Great Barrier Reef region. Over here in Lizard Island, you also get a chance to jump into the water and try out the gear if you want to go for a dive. It's a nice, relaxed environment. It's shallow, so you can stand up and you can really see if it's something that you want to do. Just going back here as well, you can see that beautiful view of the mainland Lizard Island and of course the islands surrounding it. And that's what you'll see if you come up and do the Cook's Look hike. Named so Cook's Look because that's actually the spot that Captain Cook climbed up to try and find a safe journey out of the reef. So this is it's a very challenging hike. It does take a couple hours, so we do say you need to be quite fit, but once you get to the top and you just see those 360-degree views, it'll be all worth it. That's what I try to tell everyone anyways. Most likely I'll be the one taking you up there. After Lizard Island, we venture further north, and this will be our northernmost destination, and this will be Osprey Reef. So one of the most amazing things about this reef is that it's actually the top of an underwater mountain system. It's a little bit hard to imagine, but imagine a mountain near your house on the land, and if suddenly it was all this water came in, it was submerged, and you just had the top portion left. That's what Osprey Reef basically is. it goes down to about 2 kilometers. So that's 2,000 meters deep. And it's about 25 kilometers long. So it's just this huge reef system that's in the middle of the ocean. And what this means is that all of the critters and all of the marine animals nearby, they actually come towards the reef and they use it as a safe haven, because this is where they've got all their food, this is where they have their shelter, and this is why there's such an abundance of life here. It's almost like the New York City. It's so busy. And this is the type of animals that you'll see. So Osprey Reef is very well known for its large number of sharks. It has a huge shark population ranging from hammerheads have been seen there, all the way to your black tips, your white tips, your lemon sharks, everything. And of course, we have our beautiful manta rays, which I'm not sure if you've ever seen one, but they are just the most majestic creatures in the ocean. They can range from anywhere to 7 meters wide. It's quite big for a ray, but they're also nicknamed the friendly giants because they can't possess any harm on you. And of course, down here as well, we can see this little fish, and that is a lionfish. So we have plenty of little lionfish populations all along the reef. We've got some more over here. There's a popular spot on Osprey Reef called the cod hole. And here on the bottom right, we can see a giant potato cod, also known as a potato grouper. And these are very friendly fish. So quite often, whether you're diving or snorkel down to where they are, they'll often come swim up to you, bump you, and they're quite friendly fish as well. We have our beautiful Christmas tree worms and small clams that you can see up here. So Osprey Reef, because of its location, it's very remote and it's quite hard to get to. It's only actually a reef that you can get to if you join a liveaboard vessel like ours. So in saying so, it is subject to weather. If we do get very strong winds or swell coming through, it'll just be too dangerous. So that's something that is my job to do on the day, and I'll plan and see if it's safe enough to do. So that being our northernmost destination, we then get back onto the vessel and we start going south and we start hitting our ribbon reefs. So for those of you who are unaware, the ribbon reefs are actually reef systems that are the furthest east that you can go on Australia's continental slope, and then there's nothing else left. So the ribbon reefs are old remnants of Australia's coastline about 20,000 years ago, which means that a long time ago, you would have been able to walk from Cairns now to where the ribbon reefs are. It's important to say as well, actually, that Osprey Reef, the one I was speaking about before, is outside of Australia's continental plate, which is why that it goes down so deep. And these ribbon reef structures, because they're so far from land, they are just absolutely stunning. So they're named from ribbon reef number 10 to ribbon reef number 1. Not very creative in the naming, but we start off at number 9 and start making our way down. And they're just very long reef structures, beautiful pristine corals as well. So we will have the glass bottom boat with us all the time, which means whether you want to go in for a snorkel or whether you want to go in for a dive, or if you just want to stay dry and stay on the boat, I will be with you and I'll be doing an interp. So it's actually a great way to get onto the boat and to point out things you've seen, things that interest you, and it's a great way to ask questions and learn a little bit about the reef. And here you can also see a little green sea turtle, of which we see many in the Great Barrier Reef World Heritage Area. We have six of the 7 species that are in the world. And here we just have some more pictures of what you're expected to see. Up here on the top left is everybody's favorite Maori wrasse. And these photos aren't photoshopped either. So when you jump into the water, this is exactly what this fish would look like with all these beautiful patterns and colors as well. And of course, down on the bottom, we have our favorite clownfish, which everybody comes to the Great Barrier Reef to see the clownfish. So after we go to Ribbon Reef, we go to the Daintree River, So we'll visit the Daintree River and we'll be cruising along the river. Here we'll get to go through the rainforest, and the Daintree rainforest, along with the Great Barrier Reef, is actually UNESCO World Heritage Area listed. So what this means is that this is a very unique area in the world because it's the only place where you have 2 World Heritage Areas listed side by side, which means that on your trip with us, you won't get to see just 1, but 2 beautiful remote areas. So the rainforest area is actually 180 million years old, which makes it about 10 million years older than the Amazon rainforest. The Daintree rainforest is the oldest rainforest in the world. And of course, after the Daintree, we'll be visiting Ribbon Reef number 3. So here in the Daintree as well, we'll get to meet with traditional owners, and we'll get to go for a little tour around the rainforest. We'll hear their stories, mainly their Dreamtime stories, and this is when they'll explain just how the land was created, and they'll also give the stories of how everything came to be as well. Very interesting. You also get to see just how they use various tools for whether it's entertainment, like making music, or cultural body painting, and you get to hear a little bit more about the food that they eat too. Next up is Ribbon Reef number 3. So this is getting a little bit closer back home to Cairns, and this area is still a beautiful, pristine coral reef system. It's one of my favorite ribbons because to me it just feels like a giant playground. There's beautiful table corals everywhere. The colors are just amazing. Giant clams. One of my favorites, pinnacle bommies, is around this reef system too. And then sometimes if the weather's good enough, we'll take you to what is my favorite coral spot, and that is called the Cabbage Patch. And it's just this beautiful bright green cabbage coral. And then we'll be ending the tour on Fitzroy Island and Sudbury Cay. So here on Fitzroy Island, it's only a 40 minutes boat ride from Cairns, so it's quite close. But this island, when you're on it, you just feel like you're miles away from any land. This shot here is actually a shot of Nudie Beach, which was listed as Australia's best beach back in, I think, 2018, a couple of years ago now. But the great thing about Fitzroy Island is that there's actually so much to do on the island. So all in just one morning, what we can do is we'll plan a hike. You get to see the whole island and also Australia. We come back, you can go for a walk to Nudie Beach, you can visit Fitzroy Island's botanical gardens, or you can go in for a swim with the turtles as well, because Fitzroy Island is well known for the turtles that come up nice and close to the beach. Here as well, we'll get to see Jenny Gilbert, and she runs the Fitzroy Island Turtle Rehabilitation Centre. What she does is she usually waits to do the feeding until we come, so we can see the hungry turtles eating all of their squid, and we'll gather around them and she'll tell us a little bit about what they do. And then it's also a great opportunity, if you haven't seen during your trip yet a turtle, to stand there and to watch this beautiful creature just swim around this tank. So here you can see this is one of the views from the lookout if you come and do the hike with us. It's a good hike, takes about an hour and a half return, but it's wonderful because you get to go through the rainforest, but you also get to go through the dry eucalypt woodland area of the hike too. We also, on a nice calm day, get to have the kayaks out, which means that you can go for a turtle spot with the kayaks or just go for a nice little leisurely stroll around the island. And then once we're done at Fitzroy Island, we'll take you to Sudbury Cay. And this is a beautiful aerial image of the Cay. It's pretty much like your own private beach in the middle of the ocean. And it's this little sandbar that's surrounded by beautiful coral. So when we get to the quay, you'll have time to hopefully go in for a swim. We can do a glass bottom boat tour, or you can jump into the water with me and I can take you for a little guided snorkel and see what I can point out. And we end the day with a beautiful sunset and sunset drinks on the quay. So here you don't have to worry about anything. You just have to bring yourself onto the quay and just enjoy the beautiful colours of that are displayed, especially when the sun sets over mainland Australia. It's the perfect way to end the trip. So that's it from me. I'll pass you back on to Ramona. Thanks, Ramona.
Thanks, Marysia. That was fantastic. So, I mean, as Marysia said, there is some amazing spots that you do get the opportunity to have multiple areas for sunset drinks and barbecues. So that's one of our amazing guest experiences that we do actually have pretty much on all of our expeditions. We'll try and have something like that. I mean, on this one, as Marysia said, you've got the option for, you've got your Sudbury Cay, Hope Island, Lizard. There's plenty of beautiful spots where we can do that. Your kayaking is also included in all of our expeditions where that's possible. So great opportunity to get out there and go exploring in those kayaks. And then, as Marysia mentioned, we do have our glass bottom boats. So those glass bottom boats are actually one of our key features that we do have on all of our ships is our explorer tenders. On the Reef, of course, we do use our glass bottom boat. For obvious reasons. And the beauty with the way that we deploy our explorer tenders is they're actually done on a hydraulic system. So you can actually board the explorer tenders, as you can see down on that left image there, almost directly from that back deck of the ship. So it makes it super easy to get in and out of those explorers. We'll then hydraulically lower them down. You can see on that right-hand side image there where you've got the platform in the water there. So that's where the vessel's been lowered down, and then it deploys and goes straight out into all those areas. So it's definitely a multi-purpose type area. We can use those for our kayaks for easy deployment. They can also be used as like a bit of a duck board for snorkeling or getting into the water nice and easily if you're not too comfortable. So definitely a highlight, wouldn't you agree, Marysia, of being able to
definitely
deploy?
It makes it so much easier, especially when you can just finish your dive, swim on up to the platform, and all we have to do is just lift you up. It's very safe, very easy.
Yeah, couldn't agree. And then we've got a really relaxed atmosphere on board. So we try, so with the experience on board, we have all of our meals inclusive. We've got morning teas, afternoon teas, lunches, dinners, breakfast, of course, and it's done in a relaxed, informal way. So 5-star type cuisine, it is a fantastic cuisine, all chef prepared on board. But when you're actually dining, we've got areas where you can either dine outside, or we do have a fantastic indoor dining, but in a very relaxed way. So no assigned seating or anything like that. We do also allow all of our guests up into the bridge. So that is probably one of the favourite things for guests to do on board. So you're welcome to pop up in, have a look at the charts for where we're going, especially, if you really want to follow that history of Captain Cook and maybe where his ships have been. Great way to just rub shoulders with the captain up there. And then we'll always have our expedition leaders or guest lecturers doing some fantastic presentations on board in our guest lounges also. So our vessels are quite small. Our vessel doing our Great Barrier Reef expedition will actually be our Coral Discoverer. So she's only got the 36 staterooms on board, so really nice and intimate. And all of those rooms will actually be outward facing. We don't have any internal staterooms. So you've got the option for either bridge deck balcony staterooms. We've got the next level down is our promenade, which has our picture windows. And then we've got our main deck, which has the portal windows. So all of them do have a view. So the Coral Discoverer was just refurbished only in 2016. So she does have a beautiful, relaxed kind of coastal feel to her. So as you can see, that really relaxed type of dining, but plenty of space on board, plenty of areas in the promenade deck as well where you can walk around and just get your own little sense of fresh air. And like all Australians, we do love to have a beverage or two. So plenty of bar opportunities on board. We've got our sun deck bars and our bridge deck bars as well, where we do often have welcome drinks and captain's drinks up there as well. So you've got here your staterooms, so you can see nice large picture windows and balcony windows, and amazing just to see those outside views. If you wanted to see a nice sunrise, absolutely nice easy way to see those as well, or up on one of our promenade decks. So I mean, I'm sure Marysia along the way has probably given you a few tips on things to bring, but of course, being a water-based activity, absolutely don't forget to bring your swimwear along. Plenty of opportunities for bird life spotting and things, so bring along those binoculars and your cameras. And we always do suggest as well to come in at least the day prior. If you are arriving into Cairns the day prior minimum, gives you plenty of opportunity to actually go out and explore that beautiful region of Cairns, and then allow plenty of time post-expedition as well, just so that, you know, being the weather, you know, we do often suggest for that reason, if you were to come back in to Cairns a touch later or anything like that, just due to, you know, unplanned weather conditions and things like that, you always want to have that flexibility. So definitely keep that one in mind. And then just bring along any of your pre-departure information. The purses can store any medication, things like that for you. And then dress for all types of conditions too. So any other top tips you might recommend there too, Marysia?
No, I think we've got it all.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, if you're looking and you've got a bit of time on your hands, we do actually have multiple expeditions that can join. So keep that in mind. You can join our Great Barrier Reef expeditions with a variety of itineraries. So jump on our website, have a look to see if there's any which you can join, and keep in mind that 10% saving for you. So thanks so much everyone for your time. Greatly appreciate you joining us today, and hope that you've got a bit more of an insight into just how amazing our Great Barrier Reef is here in Cairns. So thanks guys, and thanks Marysia.
Hopefully see you on the Great Barrier Reef.
Thanks guys, bye.